Hey people, I hope you all have been having a great summer so far. If you've finished your mini dolly dioramas, tag me, I'd love to see and share them. And if not, keep working at it. The purpose of the challenge was to get people started on making something and creating a small scene. Well, now I have another challenge idea, and this one is much simpler. All you need is a doll, a camera, and at the very least a piece of scrapbook paper or fabric. You can still craft something if you want, but it isn't necessary. Personally, I love looking at official doll photography, the product photos and dioramas meant to show off the dolls. I suppose these are the types of photos that inspire a lot of us to do our own doll and toy photography. And so, this new challenge is a bit more photography focused. Basically, the goal is to produce your own photo inspired by one of the examples I'll show you later in the video. You don't have to recreate the photos exactly, just the idea of the photo. It's up to you how loosely you choose to interpret a photo as long as the vibes are there. You can even combine elements from different examples to create your new photo. You can use any dolls or figures you want in your photo. You can also take multiple photos if you're really in the zone. I'll lead by example and show you my own take on the challenge to get you started. This challenge idea was inspired by 8 and 9 dolls. Every time a new release comes out, I think, what cute photos. The scenery is often minimal, but not always. It's more about the posing, lighting, and overall layout. For the challenge, I've compiled a group of official pictures to inspire you to make your own photos. This includes the ones I just showed. The purpose of the challenge is to get us thinking more about image composition. You might be a pro at this already, and if so, here's a chance to get some more doll photography in. If you're the type of person who only takes pictures of your dolls on shelves and don't really have full dioramas, this can be a good way to get started in taking diorama-style photos. And if you're the type of person who normally takes photos of dolls within a dollhouse, this is an opportunity to take more minimalist stylistic photos. We'll start with the simpler layouts and work our way up to the more complicated ones. First up is the top-down style photo. I consider this one to be the easiest because you don't even need the dolls to stand up. Just photograph a doll from above and surround them with accessories. Alright, let's give it a go. Here's how I would tackle a photograph like this. I have some somewhat similar scrapbook paper in my stash that I can use. But you could take a similar photo on a wooden surface or another style of paper. It's up to you how closely you want to match the picture and which dolls you want to use. I've decided to use the type of doll in the picture, but only one of them. I don't have some of these beachy accessories, so I'm just going to surround the doll with more plants and a summery dessert. I also don't have enough paper to make a proper full body photo, but I'm going to zoom out as much as I can. I had to do a little bit of editing in the top right corner to fill in the backdrop. But here is my final photo. Now on to the upright style photos. We'll start with the simple wall backdrop. There are a couple of things that make this type of photo trickier than the first. Number 1, the dolls are freestanding, and number 2, the dolls aren't casting shadows onto the backdrop. That means you may have to adjust the lighting or make sure your dolls are far enough away from the wall so that they don't cast harsh shadows against it. In other words, try not to lean your doll up against the wall directly. You'll have to find another way to get it to stand. Alright, let's give it a go. I'm choosing to only photograph one doll again, and I happen to have a doll that is wearing the same suit as in the white brick photo. I learned this standing trick a long time ago. Place a bamboo skewer behind the doll to prop it up. From a certain angle, the skewer won't be seen. If you can't do this, you can compromise by using a doll stand. Just be sure to crop out or hide the stand so that it doesn't show in the final picture. I hope you're all getting the idea of the challenge now. This next style of photo is similar to the previous, except the backdrop can be done using a digital screen. Place your doll in front of a big enough monitor for a more stylized backdrop. And because monitors are lit, placing a doll very close to it won't cast any shadows. It's too much hassle for me right now to jerry-rig something in front of my TV screen, so I'll let the game demonstrate what I am talking about. Now simple props are starting to come into play. One reoccurring addition is the fabric drapery. Sometimes the fabric hangs to the side like a curtain, and other times the background could be fully covered. I find that something satiny or light and flowy works well for this. Alright, let's give it a go. Here is an old satin pillowcase. After ironing the pillowcase inside out, I'll hang it to the side from my floor lamp and again over some foam board in back. Since a fabric backdrop is kind of elegant, I decided to use a couple of my ball gown dolls for these photos, one fashion royalty and one silkstone. I crafted this paneled wall some time ago. It really comes in handy. Oh, I guess I should have added a twig or something above, but because I can't zoom out as far it wouldn't be seen anyway. You guys get the gist, right? I suppose the drapery was more of a decorative accent than a prop, but a common more interactive prop for these types of photos is the chair. Your doll can be sitting in the chair, or the chair can be sort of a character all its own. I really like this photo. It's simple but they're posed so perfectly. You could also combine the chair prop and the fabric drapery. From here we move on to bigger props and multiple items. Now things are starting to look a little more like a diorama. A prop like a motorcycle or moped helps to sell this as an outdoor urban area. So does this sidewalk bench and patch of grass. For a living room or lounge vibe, simply adding a sofa, a plant, and hanging a picture onto the back wall get the point across nicely. Alright, let's give it a go. I've already made an outdoor bench, so I decided to go with that image as inspiration. However, I wasn't loving the photo, so I took even more pictures than usual. I also combined the setup from the living room reference and did a similar thing with one doll on the bench and the other standing in front. I guess this was truly a photo shoot. Here's where we get into the crafting side of things, because instead of a flat wall the dolls are in the corner of a room. Fortunately, if you're not that crafty, a fake room can be made by sliding two upright surfaces together at a right angle and covering the surfaces with scrapbook paper, something like boards, books, or boxes. However, if you are feeling crafty, add a window to your space. Shining a light through the window from the outside creates a fun effect, as if sunlight is shining in from the outdoors. You could also place your room by a window and have real sunlight do the job. Alright, let's give it a go. I made this corner room a little while ago, but I want to cover these walls. I use poster putty on the scrapbook paper to temporarily cover the smoother wall. I create a false wall on the other side, and use more poster putty to stick down this burlap rug. I'm using my twin Sarah dolls for this photo shoot. Here's a room with a cutout to demonstrate how lighting from the outside can affect a picture. I made these room printables based on the Miniverse ice cream shop. They're available on my website. This next type of photo is a bit unique from the others in that it involves both human-sized and doll-sized props. So grab some big books and some miniatures to create this backdrop. Let's give it a go. I'm using a few vintage books as well as a decorative storage box for this one. I keep some of my pull-up clothes inside. And for the tiny books, I'll use a combination of mini brands books and a few that I've made. This is my Ruruko boy, not quite 8 or 9, but close enough. He actually stands up on his own pretty well. Well, that's all for my example photo shoots, but there are a few more pictures I want to show. At this point, you're just adding more and more props to the scene. You get the idea. So if you're not a photography person, try challenging yourself. Or if you are, try setting up a different type of scene from what you usually do. Make it fun for yourself. It'd be nice to see your photos by the end of summer, September 22nd. Tag me or use the same minidollydiorama hashtag to share. I can't wait to see your work. That's all, folks. Bye-bye.